Let's just jump right in, shall we? Because if you're a leader today, you know the deal. You're up against this relentless challenge, the sheer pace of technology. It feels like it's moving at light speed, right? And it definitely doesn't wait for anyone. So the big question is, how do you actually keep up without just getting completely buried? That's what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah, this one really hits you, doesn't it? No one can stop the development of technology. I mean, there's no arguing with that. This isn't just a good idea, it's a fundamental truth we're pulling from our source material here. And that single sentence, it just sets the stage for this massive shift in how we have to think about leadership. You can't fight it, you can't stick your head in the sand and ignore it, and you certainly cannot run it. It's just a fact. And that really forces us to ask the tough question, right? For anyone in a leadership role, this isn't some far-off hypothetical problem. No, this is happening right now, in real time. So what actually happens if you decide to just not keep up? What's the real risk of standing still while the rest of the world just sprints right past you? And here it is, the bottom line. The big risk is losing your single greatest asset, your productivity. I mean, think about it. Your ability to get stuff done efficiently and effectively, that's the engine that drives success for any team or organization. So when you fall behind that technology curve, you're not just missing out on some cool new app. You are actively letting the air out of the tires of your productivity engine.
Okay, but here's where we flip the script. This huge, unstoppable force, it doesn't have to be a threat. In fact, for a smart leader, it's the biggest opportunity out there. It's all about shifting your mindset from playing defense to playing offense.
And this right here, this is the new playbook for modern leaders. Your job isn't to become some kind of tech genius overnight. Nope. Your job is to see technology for what it is, a powerful tool. A tool specifically designed to solve your problems, to smooth out your workflows, and ultimately to totally supercharge your team's productivity. That is the new strategic game plan.
Right. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to say, yeah, let's adopt some new tech, but it's a completely different ballgame to do it smartly, without burning through time, money, and your team's patience. The good news is our source material actually lays out a super clear and practical path to get it right. And here we have it, a simple but incredibly powerful 3-step framework. This isn't about throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's a real, repeatable process. Step 1, you identify the need. Step 2, you do your analysis. And step 3, you find the right technologies. Okay, let's break each of these down.
All right, let's dive into step 1, identify the need. Honestly, you could argue this is the most critical piece of the whole puzzle, because adopting new technology should never, ever be about just chasing the latest shiny object. It has to start with a real, specific business problem you're trying to solve.
And that means you have to start by asking the right questions. Seriously, look at your workflow. Where are the bottlenecks? The things that just slow everything down. What are the repetitive tasks that are just eating up your team's valuable time? Where's the friction? Pinpointing that stuff is how you find the exact problem that a new piece of tech could actually solve. Okay, so once you've zeroed in on a real need, you move on to step 2, and that's the needs analysis. This is where you put on your analytical hat and get really methodical to make sure you're about to make a smart decision, a smart investment. And look, this doesn't have to be super complicated. It's really just about defining exactly what you're trying to achieve. What does success actually look like when this is all done? You've got to measure the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. You set crystal clear goals for what the technology needs to accomplish. And crucially, you make sure whatever you choose actually fits into your organization's bigger strategic picture. And that leads us right into our final step, identifying the right tech for the job. And notice the order here. You only start looking for the tool after you've done the first 2 steps. That's key. So let's look at a really solid example that our source brings up, Distributed Ledger Technology, or DLT. Now, you've probably heard of its most famous form, which is blockchain. But in simple terms, just think of it like a shared digital record book that's basically impossible to tamper with. It's a perfect example of a powerful, disruptive technology that could solve some very specific business problems, things related to security or transparency or tracking assets. And this right here really gets to the heart of it all. You don't need to know how to write the code for a distributed ledger. Seriously. But you do need to know what it is, what kinds of problems it can solve, and whether it's actually relevant to that need you identified way back in step 1. See the difference? It's not about being a tech expert, it's about being a strategic leader. Okay, so let's tie all of this together. how do you go from just learning about this framework to actually leading with it? This is all about turning this knowledge into real, tangible action.
All right, so let's recap the big takeaways here. First, and this is non-negotiable, accept that technology's advance is absolutely unstoppable. Second, understand that your job isn't to fight it, but to harness it for a massive productivity boost. And third, use that simple 3-step framework we talked about. Identify the need, analyze it, and then identify the right technology. Identify, analyze, identify. Easy.
And so that leaves us with one final, powerful question for you to think about. The question isn't if you're going to adopt new technology, it's what and how. The whole process starts right now by looking at your own organization's needs and asking yourself, which disruptive technology will you master first?